one question, right?
Sorry, yes.
You say at advance full throttle, right?
Full throttle with the brake.
With the brakes.
Yes.
Is am I applying a complex circuit or
It's a complex circuit.
so do I just advance the forward or do I need to do something else?
You have the brakes set, and slowly you put full power,
Okay.
and then you're checking the gauges. The prop, you have to make sure that the prop is full because it's a prop.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the pre-checklist. This is the pre-checklist that we have there.
Oh, the pre-checklist is the prop goes forward.
Yes.
I step on the brakes.
Exactly.
I set 25 degrees flaps. I check the aircraft, systems, fuel pressure, oil pressure, pressure gauges, everything. Then I slowly advance the throttle to full.
Yes.
When the throttle is full, I release the brakes, apply rudder as necessary to maintain directional control and to compensate for the safety factor.
They have to compensate for that.
Okay. Then I let the aircraft run, watch for as airspeed comes alive, then I pitch for 60. So as soon as
you rotate at 55 and then pitch.
Okay, I rotate at 55. I'm in ground effect, I'm looking for 63, then I pitch for 63. Now you said it was a 50-foot obstacle here, right?
Yes.
So I pitch for 63, and then as soon as the positive rate of climb, you put the gears up, but I don't put the flaps up.
No, the flaps have to keep them until you get the higher airspeed.
Okay.
So the plane will not drop.
Oh,
Because actually the plane, once you put the flaps to down, the plane will drop, so then you're going down. So you make sure you get a good altitude and a good airspeed before you put the flaps.
And after I pitch for 63, and I clear a 50-foot obstacle, I check the checklist for the VY speeds.
For the V1, not for V1, for 90 knots, like 80, 90 knots.
What's VY?
No, not V1. Don't pitch for V1.
No, pitch for VX until I clear the 50-foot obstacle.
Yeah.
As soon as I clear the 50-foot obstacle and my gears is up, I can pitch for VY.
It's for regular climb.
So this, I pitch for VY speed and then I climb at VY speeds and that's how I complete my correct? Okay.
And then when you reach up to the climbing, to the cruiser, well, you can like regular climbing would be about 80 to 90 knots approximately, so 80 knots.
Okay, so I pitch. After I pitch for VY, of course, I'm still climbing for VY this way, then I can slowly put the flaps.
Exactly. Yeah, just
slowly put the flaps back up until the flaps come streamlined and then I fly there.
Fly there, back here. Okay. Any questions, John?
You done with the presentation, or?
We spoke about common errors. Time is 12 minutes. So.
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple of questions. If we have an engine failure on short field takeoff, how do we deal with it? Is there anything different you have to do compared to an engine failure on a normal?
Well, we have the I do like usually 4 things in my head before I take off. We do, one thing would be, if we get an engine failure and we're still on the runway, we're going to pull the power to idle and stop the plane to the remaining runway. Then the other thing we're going to do is if we get an engine failure after rotation and we have sufficient runway, then we land the plane on the runway. If we lose the engine after takeoff below 500 feet, we're going to go straight ahead and land or use another runway. If it's above 500 feet, we're going to try to circle back and come back. That's what it is. For short field takeoff, if we lose anything else?
You explained that you have 3 options: engine failure on the ground, stop straight ahead, engine failure with sufficient runway, land straight ahead, engine failure with insufficient runway, straight ahead or 500 feet turn around to the airport. But my question was, what is the difference? Is there any difference between a short field takeoff engine failure or a normal takeoff engine failure? I want to know as a student. I mean, do I have to treat it any differently because it's a short field takeoff, or is it the same thing?
It'll be the same thing.
Same thing.
I mean, I cannot imagine doing a difference. You still want to go to 5. You still want to do the same things because the same principles. It's a takeoff, and we're not going to. We just want to clear it.
Okay. But the other question I had, you mentioned 25 degrees of flaps on the short field takeoff.
Yes.
I just do normal takeoff with 0.
Yes.
Why do I have to use 25 degrees flaps on the short field?
Because it's going to give us lift at the lower airspeed. So then we can climb steeper too with the 25 degrees of flaps.
Okay.
Whether if we 0, we're not going to have the same amount of lift.
Okay. So why not 10 degrees or 40 degrees?
40 degrees is too much drag. If we have 40 degrees, we're going to have too much drag. 10 degrees, we're not going to have enough. It's still not going to be sufficient force. So it's better to use medium, so 25 degrees.
Okay. The only 2 questions I had. Okay. At this point, the presentation is over.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. What do you think? Self-critique. Tell me what do you think you did? You can put notes on the board.
Maybe
Things you could have done better. I mean, maybe you kind of after it you can. Oh yeah, I should have. You know.
Maybe
whatever comes up in your head, you can.
Maybe jumping around a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
Back and forth, a little bit back
Less
and forth.
jumping around.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Maybe some jumping around I did.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit nervous sometimes presenting I was
I think you were. You look pretty cool. Yeah. I've had people here just lock up.
Yeah?
Yeah, like for a minute they like lost their brain thought, and they're just like the good pointer was you had your notes on the table.
Yes.
If you lose it,
Exactly.
oh yeah, completion.
Exactly. That's why at some point, that's why I meant by losing. Sometimes I was like, let me double check it. Because I don't want to give false information to the Dave.
Mm-hmm.
But when you asked me the student, when he was asking me the question, I was thinking about it in my head. And I was like, oh, there's nothing. You have to think the question of the student well, because.
And every time you're doing a lesson, this is FAA standards, have a lesson plan.
Yes.
So when you go for that check ride, you better have that book prepared in case he,
Yes.
talk to me about VORs.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what you said.
Exactly.
Because you don't need to invent as an instructor. You don't need to come up with stuff. With experience, you can do that, but initially, it wants you to follow it.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay, what else do you think? Any other?
So far, on the top of my head, I don't think anything else. To my as a self-critique, obviously some things I feel that I could do better. But like I said, jumping around, like maybe I shouldn't mention VY at all, or.
We're good. Presentation's over. You can pick up the phone.
Yeah,
that's fine. You can pick up the phone. It's fine.
Μοιράτσκο, για jsem na učitelj, jo? Nemůžu si mluvit. Jo. Ahoj, čau. Let me start the video. So, Dorian, what else? Yeah, maybe I should mention VY, or maybe the only way I should mention it is that going to the buildings, then after takeoff, just continue to regular climb. Like I said, better still pitching for VY.
Yeah, I think the maneuver is the focus of this presentation. I know you're starting with, giving the subject overview. Then you have the how we do the maneuver, how we do, put on the board, what, why, and how.
What, why, Why?
The what should be about a minute.
Yeah.
What's a short field takeoff?
We'll have runways every day. We'll have every
Yeah, I mean, keep it simple. Put KISS, K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, stupid. He's a student pilot.
Yeah.
He's going for sport. Within 20 hours, he gets his license. He's gone. He doesn't. He's not commercial level.
Yeah.
He did. You know. He just needs to. You know.
Yeah.
So keep it really easy. So you know, what's a short field takeoff? Well, short field takeoff is a high performance operation. This is not something normal.
Not for
You know, it requires special procedure, special technique, special skill, and you can use the airplane while you're giving the what, the special skill, special technique to lift off the ground as soon as possible. Why? Because we have a short runway. Not just that, it could be a short runway where it's 500 feet and then water. Well, we need to use the skill. We need to, or we have an obstacle. We have an obstacle on the departure end, and we need to clear the obstacle. That's another good reason why we do a short field. Okay. That's it. 1 minute. You see, 1 minute. I told you exactly what's short. What's short. Let's focus on that. To kind of.
Do you think I was rushing to the lesson a little bit, or?
I think it was too short. I think you could have done a much better job explaining the maneuver. You could have done a much better job giving us the overview of what it is before you gone into the maneuver. And somehow it seems like you forgot to wrap it up. It was like you did completion standard, you did common errors, you didn't do completion standards, and you forgot to wrap it up. You just, any questions? It came out of nowhere. I'm like, wait a second. Blah, 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 done. You know, it was supposed to be more, you know, like,
So that's.
okay, so let's wrap it up. So what do you think is a short field takeoff and climb? Well, as we explained, it's a high performance, it's repeat what you did on the overview when you started to the end of it, you know, of actually, you know, wrapping it up.
So you want me to do the wrap up?
No, this is pointers I'm giving you, so you can, you know, the presentation's over. I'm just giving you pointers. Marker, you know, you can keep it. This, I don't mind falling out of your hand, because this is what you need to have in your hand. Because one picture means 1,000 words sometimes. If you point this on the board and you say, well, we need to take maximum available runway, so we're going to go all the way to the end and line up when there's no runway behind us. This is what you need to, you know. The marker, obviously, if you're using the marker, you can use it, but I wouldn't hold it and then it falls out of your hand. It's a little bit of a distraction. Just the point. Okay. We talked about the overview. Somehow, wind was not mentioned at all.
Or the wind correction, yeah, the wind correction.
I don't, did you hear anything about wind? I didn't hear anything about wind.
No.